Hey guys, welcome to the Ganet build. Let's start with a walk around of the real aircraft.
What you're seeing here is the Fairey Gannet at the Imperial War Museum in Duxford, a British carrier-borne anti-submarine aircraft designed in the early 1950s. Its distinctive twin-engine configuration with contra-rotating propellers made it unique among naval aircraft of its time. Originally built for the Royal Navy, the Gannet played a critical role in detecting and neutralizing enemy submarines during the Cold War. Its rugged design allowed it to operate from aircraft carriers, where it could fold its wings for easier storage. The Gannet was also versatile, later serving in electronic warfare as an airborne early warning aircraft. Though retired by the 1970s, the Fairey Gannet remains a remarkable example of British engineering, combining innovation and adaptability in naval aviation. Let's start the construction then. As you can see here, it starts with the bomb bay area, which is where we then build on top of that to create the cockpit. And that is displayed here in the instructions. I've also started work on the wings, and while that's drying, we can also turn our attention to the tailplane, and we're gluing the elevators there. I think the idea is that you can have them movable, but personally I don't like that. Yeah, if you're going to have them moved, then fix them as such, but I still prefer the glue. Anyway, we're back to the cockpit there, and as you can see, we've now got a full frame that the fuselage fits around, and obviously the wings then attached to. What we want to do now is get some paint on this, and we're going to use some grey primer because most of this is grey, and yeah, we can use weathering washes and stuff to pick out the details. Then we turn our attention to the decals for the instrument areas. And you can see I'm just applying that there. Typical procedure here, microset, microsole, making sure that those decals are nicely attached. Then first half of the fuselage goes on, and you can see this cockpit section slots in like so. Looking pretty good. And what you can see here is I've cut a whacking great chunk out of that nose section and used a bit of card to seal that up, because what I want to do is get some nose weight in there. So I used liquid gravity, which I think is a brilliant product and has revolutionized my tricycle undercarriage kits. And then, yeah, once that's all in, get the second half of the fuselage on, and then you've got to deal with this horrible seam. So I'm using some putty here just to fill that section, and then once we've sanded that down, we attach the wings, and you have something that looks like a Ganet. Now then, these cockpit sections were an absolute disaster. Really fiddly to get on, the fit was terrible, and as you can see on the back one, or you will do when I focus on it, there was a crack. There you go. And yeah, my fingers got all over it. Yeah, just a disaster. So to fix that, what we're doing is sanding that down with a very soft grain sanding pad. And basically, yeah, using a wet and dry sanding method, trying to get that as smooth as possible. And obviously we've used some glue to link the two cracks together. And then we're using some polishing compound from Tamiya, using a circular motion with the finger to get that looking as good as we possibly can. And it's not too bad. Then we can mask that up, and we are ready to start painting this thing. So I started with a black primer because I wanted to black base this, and that's going to help later on with the underside, particularly with the sky blue colour. And for that we're using this one here, Sky Type from Ammo MiG. And now you see why I've black based. We can use an initial first coat to mottle the areas, pick out the panel lines, and then we can come on with a second coat, which we're doing now. And you can see that's giving some nice tonal variation on what is essentially an aircraft that's got two colours. It's sky on the underneath, dark grey on the top, but you've got that nice variation there. And yeah, that's looking pretty good. Voila. Then we mask all of that up, ready for the top surface. Now, because this is such a dark grey, I'm not using that modelling surface. Instead, what we'll do later on in the build is use some weathering techniques to bring out the panels and bring out the variation on the upper surface that way. There we go, that's looking pretty good. And we're ready for some decals. So we've got those soaking in some warm water. And here we've got some micro sets. That's what that liquid is. Apply the decal using some tweezers. Make sure that's correctly in place. Make sure that's nicely coated in the micro set. And yeah, carry on that process for the rest of the build. Okay, nice weathering wash now. So we've got our black night wash that I use on a regular basis to bring out the lovely panel lines in that Bombay area. Obviously this particular kit doesn't come with any armament, unlike the Airfix 148 scale one. And using the same wash on the underside just to sort of pick out those panel lines. There we have it then, that's looking nicely weathered. Yeah, quite happy with that. For the upper surface then, we're using Storm Grey. Obviously we've got a dark paint and yeah, we want to bring out the panels with a lighter colour. So that's what we've done there, and now we're just sealing that all up with a matte varnish to really make that look nicely weathered. We've now got the contra-rotating propellers on, looking very nice indeed. And here you can see how this is slightly a tail sitter. Now I was a little bit worried, did I not have enough in there, or were the rear wheels big enough to elevate that? And as you can see, once you put those on, it sits on its nose, which is what you want. So yeah, almost crisis averted. But in no way is that balanced enough. So we had to have a little rethink. And what I ended up doing was taking the nose off and drilling a hole in that nose section to see if I could get some more liquid gravity in that cavity, which I managed to do, and as you can see, that's looking a lot better now. Then we've got the Bombay doors on, and I'm just using the the shaders just to prop that up. And yeah, that's done the job nicely. Okay, here you can see I'm adding the flaps. Obviously I want this to be a really sort of interesting piece. So we've got the Bombay doors open and we've got the flaps down. So yeah, looking pretty good. And now we're ready to remove the mask and see how this is looking. This is always quite an exciting moment. It feels like you're coming to the real end of the build. And there we have it. That is the finished kit. I have to say, I was really happy with this one. I think it makes a fabulous model. And yeah, given that I was building this around about the same time that the 1/48 scale Airfix kit had come out, I was, yeah, quite pleased. So if you have stayed this far, thank you very much. I hope this has been a useful video. Please do let me know in the comments below what you think. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do think about it. It really helps. I try and get as much content out as I can. Weekly videos, lots of kit reviews, build videos, and the like. And yeah, I'm going to shut up now and let you enjoy the beauty shots of the finished kit. And here is the underside, all nicely finished. And yeah, at this point, I will sign off, guys, and I hope to catch you on the next one.